Hi guys, this is Vivek. Today we'll be looking into how to approach a system design interview. So, system design interview is kind of slightly different than your typical coding round of interviews. Yeah, I mean, coding round of interviews basically like you have a bunch of input and output, and you got to just write a solution to solve the problem. But yeah, I mean, here it's kind of different. Here it's about like your they are going to evaluate your skills on building a solution that's going to be scalable for a large number of users. Like they want to test your understanding of end-to-end thinking. Like are you able to consider every scenario of building a product? Yeah, so I mean, to approach this system in design interview, yeah, I mean that there are a bunch of tips and strategies to go about. One being you need to understand the problem statement that the interviewer is really asking. Like, I mean, if he says that build Dropbox or build Dunzo or any of these systems, like you need to really understand what exact features you want to build. I mean, like you need to ask as many questions as possible and clarify uh, your doubts to make sure you have a bunch of feature set that you want to kind of really build. And once you have these feature set, then comes the things about understanding in terms of like trying to create a bunch of screens possibly, to make sure like that's what you both are in sync. Things like, say, if you want to build a restaurant table booking system, what are the steps it's going to take. And once you both are in sync, or if the interviewer says like this might be out of scope, so let's ignore this feature, kind of a thing. So that gives you like more narrowing down. So your initial goal should be narrowing down as much as possible to build initial set of features. And then comes the API contracts, defining the API contracts. So for this, basically you'll start listing all the API endpoints that you would like to have in your app. So just list them out. So it could be get, post, put, whatever. Like just show them the list of APIs. So this is another level of narrowing down. So you really know you are concrete now. So now the next step is to understand the scale of the system. I mean, like to what's the level of targeting. I mean, is it for a city or for the entire state, for the entire country, or it's a global product, kind of a thing. So based on that, you need to go about your yeah, I mean, so you make some back of the envelope calculation here, like about what's the scale it's going to be, how many requests it's going to handle. Based on that, you need to try to get how much RAM you would need, how much storage you would need, kind of a thing. Once you have all of these information, then go about a high level design, how end to end it would work. Like the client sends a request and the server, how the server what are the layers in the server. Like there's a load balancer, and there is bunch of caching servers, or like, and then an app server or the backend. Each there could be multiple services out there, each doing their own certain task. And what kind of data store you would be using, it could be multiple data stores, and like the reason for using such data store. uh, so go about these high level things, and then dive into the domain of it, of your problem. What are the major entities in your system, and their relationship, and how you would be storing it, how you would be retrieving it, if there is some specific logic, kind of a thing. Like you're building an URL shortener, what kind of algorithm you would be using, and so on. Or if it's something like a Dropbox, how would you make sure like files are not duplicate files, are like not stored, or how would you kind of come up with such algorithms and sort. So yeah, I mean, it could be a lot of things that you can think about. So I mean, I would suggest to kind of read up on as many blogs are possible, about the company blogs, about like how Uber does their engineering, what they really do, Dropbox does their engineering. Like read up these articles to get a sense of like how these companies do it, and like try to bring out the collective thoughts here. And yeah, I mean, so once you have this thing done, then it's about like I mean, again, clarifying at every step of the process to make sure like the interviewer is also convinced. And yeah, once they kind of like the system, then you could probably think of other scenarios like say if you had built just for India, and like say now you want to kind of scale it up to across all the nations, like what changes you would do. You would have to tune up the system in what ways, kind of a thing. And yeah, so that's broadly, like, I mean, the high level picture of how you tackle a system design interview. And yeah, I mean, the major thing is like getting as much clarity as possible from the interviewer on what exactly you want to build. I mean, once you have that capability, then it's all done. So yeah, I mean, hope this helped. Bye guys.